Good morning, guys. Welcome to the vlog. I have been gone for quite a while. I know this. I'm very sorry. I tend to only vlog when I'm doing medically related things, like going into the hospital and stuff like that. We randomly, quite randomly actually, came across a 1 week vacation, like a 5-day vacation, and I usually have weekends off. So for me, it was quite an awesome break. That was really random. I have my bag here in the front seat and I'm heading back to my place right now. I took advantage of it. We had a break from the hospital. I had some fun. But now I'm on night shift tonight. It is 9:03. I'm heading back to the house. I'm gonna eat breakfast, probably stay up for a bit and go to sleep probably around noon, because my night shift starts at 7. So I'll get like about 6 hours of sleep, probs, and that's good for me. I can survive off 6 hours pretty well. I'll be starting my night shift in the ED, which is the emergency department, so I probably will not get to sleep as I would have if I was doing night shifts on the floor. So I'm going to actually prepare. I'm not going to bring my duffel bag that I usually bring for night shift because I highly doubt I'll find the time to sleep in the emergency room. That being said, whenever I plan for anything, it usually goes the opposite way. So let's wait and see. Sorry I've been gone for a while, guys. I made an announcement on Facebook, but I keep forgetting I only have 63 likes on Facebook. So the majority of you guys probably didn't see that message. Can you tell I'm getting back closer to the hospital? Hey guys, it's super windy. It's starting to drizzle. I'm heading into the hospital now. It is 6:41 p.m. My shift starts at 7 p.m. Heading into the ED. It'll be different. I haven't worked in the ED ever. I don't know what to expect. We'll see what happens. Guys, what a long day. I was planning on vlogging right after I got done with my shift, but I had someone else in the car with me and I didn't really feel like vlogging in the car with them, etc., and I had to drive to Brooklyn, and now I'm back home. So night shift was lit. Night shift in the ED is probably the most lit night shift ever. I was definitely not able to sleep. I didn't even bring my typical duffel bag that I usually bring. I don't even want to say 1 hour, like 30 minutes into the ED shift, I sutured a head lac. What? This patient presented a status post seizure at his nursing home, and he fell, boom, right on his face. He has a broken nose, a head lac. His lip is like, there's a cut right here, swollen. We had to send him for a head CT, but I had to suture the head lac before the head CT. And, oh man, I didn't realize. So, originally what I was doing, keep in mind, my second person suturing ever. The head lac was vertical, just like this in the middle of his head. The bites that I was taking with my needle, which means the amount of skin that I have between the sutures, does that make sense? Between the knots, the amount of skin that I had between the knots was not as thick as it should have been when I started. And then the physician assistant told me that or he explained to me the process. It's not just closing the skin, it's closing the vessels under the skin, which I guess I should have just realized. So the bites for closing the suture needs to be wide. So you're not only closing the skin, but you're like sort of clamping the vessels underneath the skin. Man, I really hope that makes sense. I don't know really how else to explain it. But that was the first thing I did, and a lot of IVs. And the PA, I worked generally with the PA and an MD doctor, but the PA was like, I don't mean to scut you guys out, but do as many IV lines as you possibly can while you're in the ED, just to have the practice. Because one day when a nurse is on the floor or a PCA is on the floor and she cannot get it, cannot draw the blood, or cannot put an IV line in, they're going to call you. And you, as a doctor or a resident, do not get that much practice, not at that stage. So get it done now, master it now, and then when they randomly call you in the middle of the night because a nurse who's done it 1,000 times can't get this one, then you have to do it. So we did what he advised. Me and my friend, by the way, I wasn't on nights alone, which is usually the case. I was partnered up with my friend Raf. We did as many IVs as possible to the point where we would say to the nurses, if you need an IV line placed in the patient, let us know and we'll do it. I've now mastered the technique of putting an IV line in someone's arm and drawing blood from that same puncture point in order to not have to pierce the patient twice or stab the patient twice. One for IV and one for blood. I'm exhausted right now. Can you tell? My watch has died, but it's about 10 something? It's about 11. And my shift is 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. And with all of the things I had to do to drive into Brooklyn and do whatever I had to do this morning, it's just been a lot. Like what I just did was go to the bank because today's the 1st for me when I'm recording this, and I gotta pay rent. My first couple IVs were trash. The thing about learning how to do an IV on a sim man or like a simulation dummy is that those veins are beautiful. They are full of blood. They look like a bodybuilder's arm, like he's just been pumping iron all day and the veins are just out there. But my first patient had CHF. Second patient, extremely dehydrated. CHF, their entire body is going to be edematous, wow, which means filled with fluid, like to the point where they're swollen in their extremities. So I couldn't find, well, I eventually found veins on that person to draw blood, but I was not able to do an IV line, and eventually that person had to get a central line. So it definitely wasn't just me. It was pretty difficult for everybody because everybody tried. And the second patient, extremely dehydrated, was able to do an A-stick, which is an arterial stick, which is a blood draw in from an artery rather than a vein. So I was able to do that on her and get the labs. But again, I was not able to get an IV line. And then I finally started getting them one after the other. One, I was a little slow with inserting all the tubing and everything, so there was a lot of blood and I wasn't compressing the vein enough. And my last one was actually like completely successful. Everything happened as it was supposed to. Besides the scut work, really got a lot of practice doing patient interviews really quickly. So find out immediately why the patient is here. Is it an emergency? Is it not? Will the person need to be admitted or can they get discharged? Do they need to be observed or can they get discharged? And presenting to the ED attending very quickly. So the hierarchy situation over there was med student, PA, MD attending, but it's not like we couldn't talk to the MD attending directly. So it was fine. He wasn't super intimidating. They were actually very nice, both the PA and the MD attending. The ED attending, who was an MD, whatever. Whew, I'm tired. But yeah, very exhausting. A lot of work. You never actually stop. Can't wait to see what tonight brings. I'm trying to think if I did anything else. Oh. Let me know if you guys have any questions, of course, about what I do, what I'm doing, rotations, how everything's going. I'll answer all the questions. Sorry about the break, the long break from vlogging. If I'm not in the hospital or doing medical stuff, I'm not vlogging. I don't vlog my personal life. If you're new to the channel, sorry. You'll never find out who I'm dating or where I'm going on vacation or anything like that. I don't put that on the internet. Yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. See you guys next time.